The sections we're on today is else if and compound Boolean expressions. So basically, we're going to be looking at whether if you have like a third or fourth option, that else if says, okay, given the first one wasn't true, we want something else to check to see if it's to be true, if it will be true, not just like one or the other, like the if or the else. So else if gives us a bit more of, I think this is probably the easiest because it lets you really choose your options pretty directly. And so I just put the link up for the video. When we get started on that,
In this lesson, we'll take a look at else-if statements.
whoops, sorry,
As we learned in the last lesson, we
gotta share audio.
can create
Create
branching
branch-
programs in Java by using if-else statements. If-else statements allow us to create alternate paths that execute different commands depending on the outcome of the Boolean expression. While this allows us to add more creativity to our programs, the if-else statement has its limitations. If-else only allows us to compare one condition and choose a path between true and false. But what if there are more than two possible scenarios for a particular condition? In the previous lesson, we created an add tip method that added 25% to the bill if there were 8 or more customers and added 20% if there were less than 8. But what if the restaurant wanted to change its policy to say that if there are less than 4 customers, they aren't charged any additional gratuity? How can we handle this? Else if statements allow us to incorporate additional conditions to our if else statements. Else if statements can be written in the same format as regular if statements, except they include the keyword else before the if statement. Similar to the else statement, the else if will only test its Boolean expression if the initial if statement evaluates to false.
You just want to pause. I know that we've kind of seen where you can, sorry. You can see that the difference, if we put if and then if, it's saying, okay, only if this one wasn't true, so that else is important. If you wrote an if and another if, then that's really just saying test them both. Because that was that if statement, when you write a new if statement, that's essentially what's happening. So the else if says, okay, kind of, we're looking at this condition, it's false, let's move on. Check this one out only if this one's false. So again, it gives us a bit more of a control over what's happening.
If the initial if statement evaluates to false. This is the diagram of what an else if statement looks like when added to the control structure. As we can see, it adds an additional level of complexity. We can think about the else if as just another if statement that will only execute if the Boolean expression in the else if evaluates to true and the initial if statement evaluates to false. Let's see what this looks like with our previous example. In our original code, we had an if-else statement that tested if the total customers were greater than or equal to 8. Now, though, we need to add an additional test to see if the total customers is greater than 4 and less than 8. Can you figure out how we might write this? Pause the video and try to solve it yourself. This is what the else if statement will look like. Let's go through it together. Let's say we created a new bill object called check and called the add tip method to check. The initial call to instantiate the check object assigns the value 100 to cost of meal and 6 to total customers. These are the variables that will be manipulated in this program. The next statement is the add tip method. Once this is called, the program will visit the bill class to execute the add tip method. The add tip method immediately starts with an if statement. The if statement tests if total customers is greater than or equal to 8. Since the value of total customers is 6, the if statement evaluates to false and the code within the if statement does not execute. Add tip then continues to the next statement, which is the else if statement. The condition in the else if is tested and evaluates to true, as total customers is greater than 4. Because the else if condition is true, the code in the else if statement will execute, and cost of meal will be changed to reflect that. It's very important to understand that the order of the if statement and the else if statement matter a lot in the case of this program. If we switch the order of these two statements, the program will actually create a bug that will mess up the calculation of the tip. If the value of total customers is greater than or equal to 8, the switched if and else if will pose a problem. When we run this program, the initial if statement tests to be true. The cost of meal is then changed in the if statement, and the cost of meal is changed to be 120. But the total customers is 8. Because the else if statement follows the initial if statement, it isn't tested at all if the initial if statement condition is true. Thus, there is a bug in this program that is miscalculating the tip of meals. Paying attention to the order of the if and else if statements matter so that the programs evaluate correctly. Here's a diagram of the program we just created and evaluated. In our program, we also included some additional code that isn't necessary for this program to run. The else statement at the end isn't actually changing anything in the cost of the meal, so we can remove it. We can write this program without the else statement altogether, because else if statements don't run the else statement. They only require an initial if statement to be written. In this particular program, we would only need to include an else statement if less than 4 total customers had an effect on the cost of meal. We could also add another else if statement that will only add to the cost of meal if there are 2 or more people on the bill. There isn't a limit to the number of else if statements that we can connect to our initial if statement, which allows us to truly customize our programs. It's important to note the differences between the different conditional statements that we can use in our programs. In order to start a conditional statement, we must start it with an if statement. Else if and else are optional additions that can be used to make more complex conditional statements, but they must always start with an if statement. A conditional statement may only have one if and else statement, but can have an unlimited number of else if statements. Adding an if statement to an existing conditional statement would just create an additional conditional statement. Now that you've learned about...
All right, so I hope, again, these videos, they get pretty detailed. My goal is that we recognize what we're doing. We have the if, that's that, program will run only if something is true. That's our kind of basic thing we're thinking about. The else was saying, okay, we'll do it. If there's a true, we do something. If it's false, we'll do this other thing. Now we're kind of saying, let's break that down, and we have a lot of conditions, and we maybe have like different pathways. So we want to continue that complexity. We're including this middle code called else if that will grant you more options, essentially. So let's all go to the positive, negative, or 0. Let me put this in the chat. Could you hear the video? Did you all hear the sound?
Yes.
Yes.
So there is the assignment, Nathan. So on the positive, negative, or 0, they're basically saying we have 3 options. Is the number is positive, the number is negative, or the number is neither positive nor negative, which is only one case, and that's 0. So let's go. We want to ask for the user input. So let's create a scanner class, scanner object. Again, if you haven't memorized this and you want to get it from the docs every time, I don't care. That's fine by me. Now we need to ask for a number from the user. And make sure it's an integer because, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Greater than or less than won't matter. So you can do a double, but I'm doing integer. All right, you got this up, Nathan? Yeah, that typed. Good. All right. So first thing we want to do is if something, then we want to tell it to run either it's positive, it's negative, or it's neither. So which one do you think we should start with?
For positive, we do it greater than 0.
Okay, so if number greater than 0, curly bracket, we're going to print this out. And I bet the assignment is you're going to check whether your text is completely right. So I think there's an exclamation point, all that funny stuff CodeHS likes to do. All right, so before it might be something where we'd say else the number is not positive. So think about now we kind of, instead of just true or false, we kind of have conditions that let us have different situations. Now the number greater than 0, that's true or false, but now we can say if that's false, but the number is negative, less than 0, we'll do the number is negative. And then finally, we'll say it's neither negative nor positive. Do we need to do else if, or else here?
Just
If.
else.
Should we do if, else if, or else?
Just else.
Just else. So this says neither one of those was true. So it has to be the case that is neither the number is neither positive nor negative, exclamation point. All right, so there should be your code. Remember, else does not come with any conditions because else says if wasn't true. The if or the else if wasn't true. So now it has to be this case where every other case besides the if and the else if is the else. All right, when you're done with this, go on to salmon spawn.
Okay, this announcement serves as the
Nathan.
lunch bell
Nathan, put the phone
for lunch A, zone 1A lunch. Again, the bags are out on the 2200 hall, ready for distribution. And thank you so much.
So if you're done with this positive, negative, or neither, 0, go on to salmon spawn. Oh, yeah. It's fine. Okay, Luther, let's get to work on what you see on the screen. Hey, Graham, finish up. What you see, positive, negative, or zero? All right, Christopher, let's get to work. Can you log in through your computer, not your phone? Oh, you finished. Okay, thanks. I guess, I'm sorry, if I didn't see it was submitted. Okay, let's get to work on salmon spawn. Okay. So we have if, else if, else if, else if, else. We have 3 else if and an if and an else. So we have a month of the year. And see how they've given you kind of the structure of the code already. All right, I'm not displaying. Austin, be careful. You're writing the code for positive, negative, 0 on salmon spawn.
I'm using the same format. I'm just switching stuff out.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. Sorry, I spelled this wrong. All right, let's go to salmon spawn. And so it's really kind of same process. Ask the user for the month. Are you done with that one? You done with that one, Nick? You done with this?
Yeah.
All right, go on to next one. All right, so I think it's good to follow the process that they've written. Just because that is going to help you with the logic, meaning the order. Because if you try and do less than 7 and then less than 3, it's not going to work. Okay, Luther, which one do you see us on now?
We're on salmon spawn.
Okay, let's go there.
I'm on it right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm not going to finish this whole thing. I think that this shouldn't be too challenging. I'm just showing you the first couple. And remember that you need to write that else if you're going to use it multiple times. You can write else if you're only going to have 2 things. But if you have more than 2 things, you need an else if. So you can finish writing these. So if you're on berries, the only thing different here is the input is going to be checked just the first character. So they kind of show you that method is the char at 0. So you'll take your string and do a like use the string itself, char at 0 as a method, and then set that equal to a new char variable. Because remember, if your Boolean statement is equals, Nathan, we're on berries. Okay, let's get typing. Your Boolean can't use strings to say equals to unless you do the dot equals. So if you want a character is the primitive, Yeah, Luther, I'm not gonna finish this. You need to finish it. Use the same logic you see up there. Else if month is less than 9, else if month is less than 12. So you need to finish these. All right. So hopefully the berries isn't too challenging. What I'm saying, that they're giving you R, H, or G. And the instructions show here that it's going to get it as a string, but then you need to get this char at 0 to use it as a character primitive so you can use it for your Boolean statements. So I'll show you how to do that. So we need to input. So I think they're just going to type in one string, but you need to turn that into a character, even if they type in the whole word. So to do that, we need something like this. You're doing your character primitive type as a stored variable, and get your object of the string char at 0. Whoops. And so that will be what you use in your Boolean statements. Is first letter equal to R? Is it equal to, what are the berries? H or G? And so then you now can use your double equal sign. If you were getting an error before, it's probably because you had a string double equals another string with like one quote. So remember, all right, let's say we want to say that they chose R, they typed in R. So if first letter is equal to, how do I write a character R instead of a string R?
You do
Just the
quotation.
apostrophe.
Yeah, just the single quote or the apostrophe. So that would be the way you start these Boolean using this string to a character and then compare the character to a character object, character primitive. So hopefully that will get you the rest of the way. Did I answer your question, Greer? Oh, okay. Luther, I just sent you a chat. Can you look at that? Oh, sorry. I realized I did not put a prompt, so just make sure you ask the user to type in, enter the initial of the berry. And then you're writing out here, I don't know how CodeHS is going to check. Again, I don't really mind if you just write something like raspberries here, but CodeHS, they like you to type in exactly how they show you in the instructions. And I think there is one condition at the end that says if they didn't type in one of the three, it says enter the initial berry not recognized. If they did not enter in one of the three R, H, or G. So what would that would be another else if, or what would it be?
Else, right?
Just an else, right? So again, these three are just sort of showing, do you understand how to fit else if into your logic? When I say logic, that's what computer science looks at when there's certain things happening, making choices by the program to do different things, different conditions. The conditions are these Boolean statements. Are they true or false? So again, I'm not finishing this. I'm just showing you the rest so that you would do an else if. Eight. You ordered a huckleberry. So you will need an else. G. All right, so those are your next two steps for this to finish is you need to code an else if for the G and need to code an else for all their situations. So I'm just getting you started, but you have time to finish.
I'm having a problem.
All right.
Like when I do it it works fine. Like if you type in R, H, or G, then it'll print out the right berry. And if you type anything else that's not R, H, or G, it'll print out berry not recognized. And then I try to submit and continue, and it says that R, G, and H are wrong.
Here, let's look at yours.
Okay. Wait a minute. I want to test it one more time just to make sure. And then yeah, I don't get it. Sharing my screen now.
All right. Does it show you some sort of output it wants, or is it just like not?
No, it just says like testing, and then it says it's wrong.
What happens if you click check test cases? Oh, it's the way it's typed. It says you ordered raspberry. I don't like the way they. I don't hate
Oh.
the grammar they've chosen here. You ordered raspberry. You ordered huckleberry.
Oh, my bad. I didn't.
Okay. And look, y'all, if you're doing this on your own and you get stuck like that, I wouldn't count that against you when I check the code. I don't consider that to be like a fundamental computer science thing. All right, so we should be getting close to done here. What I want you now to do, if you're done with berries, go on to battleships. And this is now where you're going to see a method that needs, there's going to be like basically a method is attacked that what has a like situation that needs an else if. So go ahead and work on battleships now. Whoops. And it's just this method that if the attack power of the ship is less than 4, the ship inflicts 3 damage. If the attack power of the ship is less than 8, the ship inflicts 5 damage. If the attack power of the ship is 8 or more, the ship inflicts 7 damage. So you have to kind of think about what order do you want to put these in? Which one is the if, which one's the else if, which one's the else? And the place that you're coding is in this battleship Java is attacked. And then there's a still floating if the health of the ship is greater than 0. Looks like there's 2 things you need to code here. You done with berries, Nathan? Done with
Yeah.
them? Okay, cool. Good. Hey Luther, can you just show me what you're working on?
I'm on battleships right now. But I don't
Did,
really
were you
know.
able to finish the berries and the salmon spawn?
Yeah, I have to do the like part on my own that you said, but you know.
Why don't we just get those finished? And can you just share your screen? I want to kind of see what you're thinking when you're working on these.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on, I have to do like this, and then for this I have to do this part.
All right. So whichever one you want to just kind of hammer out, which one do you want to start with?
Salmon, I
All
guess.
right.
And then I have to start. I don't really. I'm not really. I don't know what to do, to be honest.
Okay. So we have if. What does it say, that first part?
Salmon. Like, what do you mean? Like here or on the
Yes.
assignment?
Just kind of tell me, what are we doing? What's the purpose of serving?
So we're trying to see how long the season of the fish spawn is, or yeah, something to do with amount of like time with months and well, yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. And so how are we doing that? Like, what is actually happening?
Well, this is like telling us that this is not the spawning season, and I guess this is saying it is, and
So it's always, is it, like, when does it know how to say those things? Is it always saying not spawning season, or is it only under certain conditions?
no, it's saying it's saying it's not spawning season here, but I'm guessing it's saying it here.
Right, so we need to kind of look at what the code is doing. What do you notice above and below not spawning season? What are some of the things you see?
Month and 7 and
Okay.
month 3.
And so what does that look like? Month 3, what's in between them?
What's in between?
Yes.
It's not the spawning season.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry,
I'm
what's in
guessing
between month and 3?
like like a number between them.
No, I'm just saying, like, when you go up to line 17, read out what that says on line 17.
If month is 3, if month is greater than or less than 3, sorry.
All right, where do you see in the comments like something that sounds like that?
If month 3 is less than Jan or February.
Okay, so that's saying during February and January, which is the month of with month
It's not the spawning.
1 or 2, what will print out?
Not spawning season.
Okay, so then I typed in 3, 4, or 5, or 6. March, April, May, or June. What should be printed out?
March, April, May, or June. It should be. It is the spawning season. So yeah, this.
Okay, so that
So
means that it wasn't January, February.
right.
So if month less than 3 is false, I move to the else if month is less than 7. If it's one of those that's true, it will print out spring spawning season.
Right.
So what I need to do now is say it's neither one of those, but it's also less than 9. So how would I write that? It's neither month less than 3, not month less than 7, but now it's month less than 9.
You would say else if again, or else if and then month and then say 9 maybe.
Okay, type it out. Yeah.
Okay. Month. Wait, hold up. Month. Then 9. I'm guessing. And then you do the thing and then say not spawning season. Or am I wrong?
If that's what you see, then let's try that.
Okay. And then you do these two. And then that's it, I guess.
Yeah, you have the else. So if we've done, it wasn't less than 3, it wasn't less than 7, it wasn't less than 9, but it is less than 12.
Mm-hmm.
So what would I write now?
If wait, no. Would I do else if again? But
So that means that you
well, it is
have
the
this
spawning season, right? Because it says fall spawning season.
fall spawning season says it's not any of the ones I've listed, but it's not everything else possible. Then you'd write else if.
Okay. So else if again.
From those.
What about this last one?
If
What do I
you
do
have
for?
not already, this
So what does it
else
say
or
instead of
as
else
Monday,
if? What does it say?
It says
Monday,
else, so
not
So we just write else, and else captures everything that's not true. If it's not any of these things.
got you. And then all I have to write is this print line and then it says
Yeah,
not
there's
spawning.
no condition, there's nothing in the parentheses, so you'd immediately go to a curly bracket. And then type in the statement that needs to be printed out.
Okay. Not spawning season or
Yeah, what does it say for December?
yeah, not spawning season. Okay. Is
Okay,
this- I'm guessing that's it. I might be
well, so at this point, like let's practice some independence, what would you do?
wrong. Well, I mean, it looks like I have everything, but I would probably have to run it and see if I have to do something. No, because the code is structured.
This is where I forgot to put something in. So what's happening here? They're waiting for you to type in a number, but you don't know that's what they're asking. So maybe you should type in a prompt that says enter in a number before the int month next int.
It like any number or
Okay, see where it says int month next input next int on line 10.
on line 10? Yeah.
That means we're getting a number from the user. So what we forgot to do, and I forgot to do this, prompt them, send them a text using system.out.println that says, please enter a month. You have to do it beforehand or else it won't know Like you don't text someone after they've texted you asking, can you please send me something? You need to, so the
So
code
say
needs to go
please
beforehand.
send me, or say, wait, what do you say? You say please send me the month?
All right, that works. Now remember, when do you need to have them? Should you ask them for the month before, like you're getting the month before you've asked for it? So we need to look at the order of our code. So you should send them the text that says, please send me the month, and then have them do the input next int.
Okay. So just, like that, or?
Right. You understand? Like you want to ask them the question, then they'll type in the number. So now
Oh,
run your
yeah,
code,
yeah,
see what
yeah, I
happens.
get that. And then, like, what number do I type though?
It doesn't matter. It should just be whatever month that person.
Wait, so, oh, then I do. Wait, why is it?
I think you're gonna have to restart the code. See, it says stop,
Oh, yeah,
run it
yeah.
again.
And then, so 3?
I'm just saying that it's ready for any number you send it.
Right.
What you're doing is you're testing your code by saying, hey, I want to give it different months to see what output there is.
Okay.
So let's run the code.
Wait, oh, sorry. Run the code, but what, like, I'll just, so I can just really just type in anything.
Right?
And then, please send me the month. So 6, spring spawning season.
And so where did that fall in your if else statement or else if statement? Where did it fall?
It was in this one,
And why was that?
because it's in between 7 and 9, right? Oh
Right.
wait, no. Well, because we coded for it, kind of, I guess.
Well, what does it say right there? What does it say on line 22?
Line 22, else if month is, oh, less than 7, right.
Okay, but
So
why
if
didn't
it's
it
less
choose
than
18?
7, then it is, and if it goes to 3, it's not, I'm guessing. So
Just
4,
think about
5,
it
and 6.
mathematically. You gave it 6. It's checking it each time. On line 18, what did it do?
On line 18, it if it's less than 3, then it's not the spawning season.
Right, but what is 6 compared to less than 3?
6 compared to less than 3.
If you threw 6 less than 3, is that true or false?
6 less than 3. False.
And so 18 says false. Move to where?
18 says false. Move to where? I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so this is how these things work. It says if something's true, run the code inside the curly brackets.
Yeah.
If it's not true, go to the next else or else if right below it. So let's walk through that again. I had 6. Line
Yeah.
18, what happens?
Line 18, it scans, well, it goes through and it says that it is the spring spawning season and this isn't, right?
I just slow down. I'm not asking about the printing. I'm just saying on line 18, if month less than 3, if we have 6 as our month,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening on line 18?
it's not spawning season
Why?
because but I don't understand because it says it is right here.
I know, I'm just trying to get you to think about the code. It's less, less important about what prints out, and I'm just trying to get you to think about how this works. This is today's lesson.
Yeah,
If month less than 3 is line 18.
yeah.
If month is less than 3, something will happen. Is the month less than 3 when you typed in 6?
No,
So that code is not run. Now I'm
right.
asking,
So it goes to
what
the
happens
next.
next?
So it goes then to this one.
The next else or else if is looked at. And what
Right.
happens at that point?
It checks to see if it's less than 7, and it
Is it less
is.
than 7?
Right.
Is it less than 7?
Yes, it is.
And so then what happens?
So then it states that it's spring spawning season,
And then what happens?
and then it runs and then shows you.
And that's it. That's whenever it finds a true among all these, it's going
Mhm.
to stop.
Okay.
All right. So really need now, we're going to start the next section. So see if you can submit this one.
Okay. Do I have to test?
Oh, I think it's the uppercase. So go back to your not spawning season on line 20 and change that to a not with an N lowercase n.
Oh, in
Yeah,
lowercase n.
that should,
Okay.
I think that,
This one. Wait, all the knots or?
yeah, I'm not sure why it's saying that. Let's see.
Oh, well.
All right. Go to test cases, click the X. Go to test cases. So press check code. Okay, so it's just a matter of spelling. They want the N to be lowercase and the S to be uppercase in the first if month less than 3. So uppercase N, lowercase s. All right, so uppercase N for all the knots.
Okay.
And lowercase season on the first one on line 20. All right, good.
Is that it? Okay, there we go.
So let's just look at berries so you know.
Right.
All right, so why did I write the, so we've gotten the person to type something in and we've gotten their character out of their string, which is line 15. Line 15 says, give me the character from the first position of their text. What am I doing in 19, 20, 21, 22?
19, 21, 20. You see if you ordered a raspberry.
How do you know?
Well, there's this like stuff. So R is for raspberry. If this, okay, so it's saying that these are how you identify them. And I'm guessing, I'm guessing I'm supposed to like do Huckleberry and Joji next.
Right, I'm just kind of, let's think about what did the person do? Did they type something in and we're looking at what they typed?
Yeah. So they typed in R and then it says they ordered a raspberry.
Right. So we're gonna have, are we gonna have another if? Are we gonna have an else if?
Probably another if. An if and then H, and then it says you ordered a Huckleberry, but there's gotta be something more to it, so.
So this lesson we've learned if and else if.
Mm-hmm.
So you want an else if H, else if G. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Like else if
Oh, Elsa for the other two?
the other two. And then there's a third situation or a fourth situation. What does it say when it says example 2?
Example 2, enter the initial of the berry, and then I'll say if it's recognized.
And so what did they type in?
It typed in a K.
Is K one of our choices?
No.
So that is the situation where if none of the three are true, we want to type in very not recognized. What's the like statement we use for the, if there's nothing else true at the end of our if statement? What do we use? If, else if, or else?
Else probably.
Yeah, so there'll be an else at the end that says if they just didn't type in any of these things, then very is not recognized.
So all you have to type for that is else or,
Yeah, else,
Oh,
curly
okay.
bracket, very not recognized.
okay.
Okay?
So else and then system.out.print, Barry not recognized.
Yeah, after you've done the H and the G for the berries that they can order.
And then I say, for those two, I say else if.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So.
All right, so I want you to take a pause on this. I know you're kind of like wanting to get this done, but we need to move on to the next lesson.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna get us back to the breakout room, or the main. All right, any issues with battleships?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
All right, you wanna share your screen?
Yeah. So I did I do this part right?
If the ship is greater than 0, then it's still floating. That's Boolean, yes. Either the health is greater than 0, return true or false. Okay, so this is saying is attacked. If the attack is less than 4, health -3. What are you trying to say? Tell me what you're thinking there. What's happening?
Well, I was going based off of these statements over here, and I was trying to like make the health of the ship like go down 3 points.
Okay, so the health, we want to take health, what it already is, and subtract 3 from it. We have a way of doing that, and it's not health -3. Kind of think about it as take health, subtract 3, reassign it to the health as a new value. Or what do we use, y'all, for the compound operator, the complex operator for subtract 3 from the health already that's existing?
Right? Do we add that?
Right. That will say take 3 off the health and then give it a new value. Does that let your code run?
Well, I'm supposed to do 2 more of these for these 2 over here.
Right, but you can at least try it with this. It might. Just to make sure we have the syntax right. Okay, so now you got to go back and fill in the else if attack power is some other value, and then maybe an else based on those three bullets I gave you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Any other issues with battleships or any of the 3.4 activities? Okay, we're now going to learn about compound Boolean expressions, and this is where I know, Tyler, you were trying to do something where if something is less than and greater than, like you would in algebra, you kind of put it in between.
Yeah.
This is where you'd use the and the double ampersand, if you wanted to do integer is less than 3 and integer is greater than 1. Then this is where you use something like that in one Boolean statement. All right.
Hi, in this lesson, we'll learn about compound Boolean expressions. Let's go. In previous lessons, we learned about how to use if-else statements to create alternate paths that execute different commands depending on the outcome of the Boolean expression. Using what we've learned about if-else statements, let's implement a password class. Imagine we were building a program where users had to create and input a password in order to create an account on our site. We might start by creating a password class that takes a password string as its input and sets the value of the private string password to the value input by the user. Here is an example of what that might look like. In order to make this program more useful, let's add a method that tests the strength of the user's password. Let's call that method password strength. The implementation of password strength is as follows. If the password is greater than 8 characters, we will print password strength good. Otherwise, we will print password strength bad. Can you implement this based on what we've learned so far? Pause the video and try to solve this problem.
All right, I think I'm gonna just have us go through the slideshow. This is a long video. Oh, come on. All right, so essentially what this lesson is all about is you can now use these different syntax to represent not and or. So you would put this right up in front of a Boolean variable or even like a Boolean statement that would represent the opposite. So if it is true, you could put that exclamation point in front and it would turn it to false. The and is saying if both on either side of the ampersands, 2 ampersands, if both are true, then the whole thing is true. That's and. So if it's one true, one false, that's false. If they're both false, it's false. So and is sort of like very specific. They both have to be true to be true. So both sides are true, then the and is true. Or is a bit more open. If one is true, if this left side is true and the right side is false, then the whole thing can be true. If the right side is true and the left side is false, then the whole thing is true. If they're both false, it's false, of course, and if they're both true, it's true. So, all right, here's an example. So if the light on is true, then this is kind of reassigning it to say, okay, make it so the light is on is false. So we're reassigning light on to be false. Now, what I would say is that probably the more sensible thing is to call this variable light off, maybe define a new Boolean called light off and turn it off. This could be something that just triggers something else in your program though. This is what I was just talking about with the and. See, with and, there's only one condition really where they're true for this whole Boolean. And that is if X and Y both are true. That's the and situation. Really, the rest of this is false. Even though X and Y are true in both of these cases, the whole Boolean says it's false. So for example, what would be printed out here?
False.
Why?
Because it's not warm.
Right.
Is warm is
One
false.
of those, go ahead.
Oh, is warm is false. So
Is
it's
warm
not.
is false, so we have at least one of them is false, therefore the whole thing is false. there. So we print out false. Now if we change it to true, everything is true, so the whole thing is true. That's the and that ends up being true, is if both are true. Now with or, it's kind of flipped. Or is a lot more situations where it's going to be true. If they're both true, or only one is true, then it's going to represent true at the end of the Boolean. So the false, only situation with false is if both are false. Or, one thing or another. And to get that symbol is to shift that backslash above enter. So enter, there's a button above enter that has this vertical line. You push shift and you type that twice to get this symbol. All right, what about this one? Will this be true or false?
True.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise. I can't hear you.
True.
True, right. Because we have at least one true, since it's an or, true or false. And Nathan, you want lunch?
No, it ain't like that. No hurry.
Oh,
I'm ready.
you want lunch? Yeah, okay, we just one.
So time.
I know. He's just making a count. So we have true and false. One of these is true. The or says, okay, overall, even though one's false, we have at least one true. So the whole thing is true. That's how or works. Because a lot of this seems like, oh my God, logic. And, it's just something like, think about a situation when you need both things to be true. That's the and. When one can be true, then it's an or. You only need one to be true. So like as soon as you see a false in an and statement, you know the whole thing's going to be false. As soon as you see a true in an or statement, you know the whole thing's going to be true. So that's what this is saying. You can kind of like skip that second condition if at least one of them's true. Then it's going to be a true here. If at least one of them's false, it's going to be a false if it's the and. Yeah. All right, so we're dividing by 0, you can't do that. So instead of dividing by 0, it says if it's not true. So here's kind of like the shortcut. To avoid getting to this code over here, there's this condition in front that says, if it's not equal to 0, and the number of slices divided by the number of people is greater than 0, then I'm going to say there's enough pizza. So what this says is if I type in something like this, it's not even going to try to evaluate this code if this is false, because I have the two ands. I have the ampersands. So this way avoids getting to that problem of dividing by 0, because it's going to say, oh yeah, if this isn't even true, since it's an and, I know this whole thing's going to be false, because this is false. Okay, now I have number of slices is 10, number of people 5. So this says, okay, it's true that it's not 5, it's not 0. And then I'm going to divide 10 by 5. It's greater than 0, so I have enough pizza for everyone. There's an order of operations. So the not operator is evaluated before the and the and evaluated before the or. This probably shouldn't happen too often. It's just that, this is not saying not A and B. It's just saying not A. So maybe you can think about it like with parentheses. Your condition is first not A, Then you're going to check B, whether these are both true. So here you can look at the and before B and before or. So again, it's going to combine these together, kind of cluster these together first. It's like a multiply and a plus in our order of operations. You're going to look at the ands before the ors. So again, you can think about parentheses. And maybe that helps. So this was that password situation where you wanted it both to be greater than 8 and start with a pound sign. So it's just looking at both of these conditions. If both of these are true, it's the only way this is going to say good. All right, this is, I know Zen, you brought this up. If you want to start kind of breaking things down, going inside the if statement with another if statement, that means both of these have to be true to get to this good. But if one's true and the next is false, then it says you need to include a pound sign or a hashtag. So nested for loops kind of let you, or nested if statements let you situate where you say one thing's true, great. One thing's true, one thing's false, do this. Instead of having to create like an and statement and an or statement and a else if. So we'll see where this shows up in our code. So we have the test if the user's temperature is greater than 95.6 and less than 100.3. So is this an and or an or? This is an and or an or.
It's an and.
Right. So we'll see the and. Here we have an and it's true, otherwise false. This is what I was talking about, Tyler. When you have two situations, you want to kind of see what's in between rather than trying to do like another else or else if. You can do it all in one statement using the operator and.
Okay.
All right, good. So let's look at roller coaster. And we probably won't finish all these today. We'll probably start them tomorrow. So let's try and do the roller coaster. And here's the link. So if we look at roller coaster, we are writing a program that determines if the user can ride a roller coaster. To ride the roller coaster, you must be at least 42 inches tall. You must also be at least 9 years old. Ask the user how tall they are and how old they are. Use a nested if statement to determine if they can ride the roller coaster. If they can, print welcome aboard. If they cannot, print sorry, you're not eligible to ride. So what here we're doing is we're going to first do a nested if statement. Okay, so let's everyone go to this if you haven't done so already. So Nathan, let's go here. I've put the link in the chat. Then the we need the age and height. I guess we'll do some prompts first. Make sure there isn't some, okay, I don't see any strange language. What is your age? And then what is your height? Okay. So now we want to be able to tell the person, if they can, you print welcome aboard. If they cannot, you write, sorry, not eligible to ride. Oh, yeah, what's the, so let's see if they're old enough. So at least 9 years old, is that inclusive of 9 or over 9?
Inclusive.
Inclusive, so we can write greater than or equal to 9 or greater than 8, whichever one you want to do. And we're going to do a nested if statement. So we're not going to write you can welcome aboard yet. We want to do one more condition, and that's to check if they are tall enough.
Wait, we're not do. Why aren't we doing the Boolean thing where we just do and?
Well, because then the next one, so there's a roller coaster and then there's a compound roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of doing it like piecemeal. So this is the, we know how to do if statements. So if they are tall enough, how tall, what's the condition to be tall enough?
Greater than or equal to 42 inches.
Height greater than or equal to 42. Yeah, so the next exercise down here, compound roller coaster, you're going to use a compound statement. All right, so they are, at this point, both of these are true. If both of these are true, what should we print out?
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. All right, and is there anything that needs to be said if they are older than 9 but not tall enough? I guess what I'm asking is, do we need to do any more if or else if statements?
You would
Yes, inside the first if statement, we need to do you're not eligible to ride, and we need to do that inside the else statement too.
So I need something here.
Yeah, but we also need something. Yeah, right there.
Okay, so I need to write, okay, let's say they were old enough, but they weren't tall enough. Then I need to tell them you're not eligible. Because I can't just go straight out to here and say, oh, okay, well, sorry, you're not eligible to ride because you weren't old enough. Well, I mean, if they're not old enough, but they're tall enough, would they still ever be welcome aboard?
No.
I mean, I don't really have to even do this. I could always just say, you're not old enough, so I know you can't ride. I think that would capture everything. So now the next one, you're doing the same thing, but instead of if age greater than 9 and then a nested if statement, which is right here, you could put both of these inside one Boolean statement using either the not, the or the and operator. Okay, Luther, do you see where we're at?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go there.
Wait, I think I put my or when I try to do it the way that we did it on the screen, it doesn't print out the story you are not eligible to ride.
All
Yeah,
right, so what did we miss? What happens
we
if
missed an else statement inside the nested if statement, didn't
you need
we?
an else there?
I'm pretty sure because if age equals 9, then it will evaluate the if statement, but it won't evaluate. So like there's
Oh
two
yeah,
else.
you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. All right, so if they're 42 inches tall and 9 years old, something's not working. So it's saying if I run it, welcome aboard.
Mr. Guy, what time does this class get out for lunch?
At 1:25.